Shalom, and welcome to the first Unity Through Diversity event. This is the first of a series of programs and activities that declares that the power of the Jewish people is in the diverse narrative across communities and geographies. We recognize that it is by acknowledging, celebrating, and activating the eclectic narratives of the Jewish people that we create a unique unity that is not homogeneous, but rather heterogeneous. We share one Torah, and then developed customs, behaviors, and experiences that made it relevant in different parts of the world. In his writings and speeches, Rabbi Uziel often emphasized the shared values and heritage that bind Jewish people together regardless of their particular background. He believed in the importance of respecting different customs and traditions while upholding the principles of halacha, Jewish law. Following months of envisioning and laboring to put this event together, I'm excited to share it with you. I'm Drora Rusi, Senior Director of the ASF Institute of Jewish Experience, and I'm looking forward to tasting the Jewish mosaic together. Today, you will learn a new recipe, some Shabbat words, dance steps, tunes, Torah reflections, and thoughts from global leaders to enrich your Jewish life. You are pioneering with us a new journey in telling the full Jewish story, living it and handing it to the next generations. In today's program, we will experience together the words, music, cuisine, dance, and prayers from a variety of Jewish communities around the world. We'll enjoy the richness, differences, and recognize that it is exactly those unique tunes and tastes that make us a stronger, more resilient people. Like a strong rope made of thin strands, each string brings its own strength to the totality of the rope to make it stronger. That's the story of Unity Through Diversity. In the first hour, in collaboration with Jewish American Heritage Month, we will explore the diverse Jewish life in America. In the second hour, we'll dive deeper into those communities globally. We encourage you to share your watch parties and your thoughts on social media using hashtag Unity Through Diversity, and invite your friends and family members to join the broadcast. Let's show our pride in the unique story where diversity creates a more resilient, unified nation. Jewish American Heritage Month celebrates the rich and long history of the Jewish people in the United States. 23 Jews left Recife in 1654 to the Dutch colony of New Amsterdam, and the Jewish community has continued to grow together with the United States of America. To tell us a bit more of the significance of Jewish American Heritage Month, please welcome Dr. Misha Galperin, President and CEO of the Weizmann National Museum of American Jewish History.
Thank you for having me. I'm Misha Galperin, President and CEO of the Weizmann National Museum of American Jewish History. Happy JAHM, Jewish American Heritage Month. We're thrilled to be the organization that leads the celebration of Jewish Americans throughout the country. And we're very happy to partner with American Sephardi Federation for this particular program. If you're wondering how you can participate in celebrating Jewish American Heritage Month, well, you're already doing it by participating in this program. But there are multiple other ways. Please go to jewishamericanheritage.org to get more information. Jewish American Heritage Month is an occasion to celebrate Jewish Americans, to celebrate what we have gotten in this country, what we've received, what we've managed to accomplish, and to thank this country for being so open for us. We say only in America, and that being Jewish in America has really been qualitatively different in many ways from what's happened in much of our history. So it's about pride, it's about gratitude, and it's also about some challenges. These days, with the increase in anti-Semitism in this country and throughout the world, we think that telling people about who Jewish Americans really are, what Judaism is about, what role we've played in this country and in the world, is the best antidote to anti-Semitism. So when you come to the museum and you see Emma Lazarus, a Sephardi Jew whose poem is on the Statue of Liberty, or when you see the piano that Irving Berlin played on, or you see the pipe that Albert Einstein used, you know what Jewish Americans are and what role we've played in this country. And you can be both proud of it and grateful. This particular program you're about to see is fascinating in my view. It's about celebrating Shabbat, and to me that's one of the most wondrous ideas that came from Judaism. You know, thousands of years ago, somewhere in Babylonia, this little community closed its doors and all of the shops once a week, which was a very strange thing to do for anybody. The Jews at that point introduced the very notion of having a day off, of having a holiday every week to celebrate creation and to be thankful for what we have in life. There are many Jewish traditions in many places, and today you will hear about how the Sephardi Jews celebrate Shabbat. So again, happy Jewish American Heritage Month. Thank you for having me, and welcome.
It's the great pleasure of the American Sephardi Federation Institute of Jewish Experience to partner with the Weitzman Museum and so many wonderful and important organizations across the world that have come together to celebrate the beautiful mosaic of the Jewish people and Shabbat as a thread that unites. This initiative is in partnership with some of the leading organizations in the Jewish world, including the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, Jewish American Heritage Month, Gesher, World Jewish Congress, World Zionist Organization, E'ele B'Tamar, Union of Egyptian Jews, Lookstein Institute of Bar Ilan University, Yeshiva University, and many more that you see here on our slide. It is this partnership that demonstrates the importance of telling this unity through diversity. I also need to make sure to mention that people behind the scenes that can't be with us today, we have Avram, Moshe, Dalia, Yona, and we had Benjamin, so please make sure to look us up on our website. It is, to start us off, I would like to invite William Daroff, CEO of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, to share with us the importance of Jewish unity, especially in these days.
Hi, this is William Daroff, the Chief Executive Officer of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations. Thank you so much to the American Sephardic Federation for bringing us together today for this very impactful session on inspiring unity through diversity. My good friends, David Dangor, President, and Jason Guberman, Executive Director, are to be commended for continuing to push the envelope as ASF strives forward. At the Conference of Presidents, we work with organizations that span the ideological and religious spectrum of Jewish life across America. We do not always agree, but we are united by far more than what divides us. As Jews, we face many important challenges, including the rise of anti-Semitism, the delegitimization of Israel, and threats to the U.S.-Israel relationship. Because these issues that we face are so complex, the diverse voices of the Jewish community add important perspectives. The Conference of Presidents brings these voices together to build consensus on key issues of concern to our community. It is inspiring to watch the evolution of the legacy organizations, as well as the growth of new Jewish institutions, giving voice to those who were previously underrepresented. New organizations supporting Mizrahi Jews, Jews of color, and LGBTQ Jews have thrived. Together, we work hard to redefine what it means to be American Jews, and to do this, we must cherish and celebrate the vast mosaic of backgrounds that make up our community. The diversity of the American Jewish community is one of our core strengths. The motto of the Conference of Presidents, in fact, is strength through unity, and one of the sources of our strength is the diversity of our member organizations. Diversity does not just confer strength, it confers legitimacy. When we acknowledge and unify through our diversity, celebrating our diversity, there is no challenge to which we cannot rise. We share a common responsibility to our fellow Jews, we share a dedication to Israel, and we unite against all those who espouse and practice anti-Semitism. As we mark Jewish American Heritage Month this month, let us celebrate the accomplishments of American Jewry and the rich tapestry of our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Daroff. We are here to celebrate our diversity and share our unifying points. Thank you for starting us off on that. As a representative of the State of Israel to the United States, Consul General Yinam Cohen is part of a network that ties together Jews wherever they may be, whatever shape, size, color, orientation, or language that they speak. American Jews are in partnership with those in Israel, and the Consul General will point out the ties that bind.
Dear friends, Israel is a country of diverse population with many different cultures under one roof. In this important month, celebrating the Jewish heritage in America, I'm more than happy that we are focusing on the diversity of the population of the State of Israel. The State of Israel is a lighthouse of liberal democracy in the Middle East. The Jewish population consists of Jews from Europe, the Middle East, South and North America, and Ethiopia. And at the same time, Israel is also home to Muslim and Christian Arabs, the Druze community, and many others who are an integral part of our country. Let me share with you the story of my family. In the 1930s, my grandparents left their families and the Jewish communities they were members of in Yemen, Iraq, and Egypt, and came as teenagers to the Holy Land to form a part in the nation-state they always longed for. My wife Ayelet is a descendant of Holocaust survivors from Europe. All four of her grandparents survived the inferno of genocide that stole the lives of 6 million Jews. The story of my family is the story of Israel. 75 years ago, the Jewish people returned to their homeland after 2,000 years of exile. Jews from around the world reunited to establish the State of Israel in the land of their ancestors. As we gather today to celebrate the ties that bind the Jewish people throughout the world, we recognize and acknowledge the contributions of each and every Jew in the diaspora as well as in Israel. This celebration reminds us that all of us, the Jews living in Israel and the diaspora Jews, are one people. We should continue to work together to build our common future. I would like to wish you all a happy Jewish American Heritage Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. So important to note our common heritage, and thank you for sharing your family story, which so much parallels my own as the granddaughter of 4 Holocaust survivors married to somebody whose parents are from Yemen. I love that the world can come together like this. As the vice chairman of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, Malcolm Hoenlein has met with Jewish communities around the world, working to bring together the Jewish world. Here we'll hear from him now.
Throughout Jewish history, there seemed to be one precondition for every great miracle that occurred to us. From Mount Sinai, where we stood, ki ish echad b'lev echad, as one person with one heart, when God determined we were ready to receive the 10 Commandments and the Torah, to the rescue of Russian Jews and Ethiopian Jews and Syrian Jews and Iraqi Jews and Iranian Jews and Yemeni Jews, Jews all over the world, many of whom had been written off to the annals of history, considered lost, until we stood together, marched together, spoke out together to rescue them. When Queen Esther wanted the antidote to the evil Haman, she proclaimed, Lech kenosas kol Yehudim, go and gather all the Jews. She didn't say the Jews of North Shushan or South Shushan, of this party or that party, but all the Jews. When the Maccabees wanted to stand up to defend the Jewish people, they declared, Mil Hashem Elai, to all of those who believed likewise, to come together and stand together and fight together. And so it has been throughout history, that when we put aside our differences, we recognize that we are not all the same and all hold the same beliefs. But we understand that the whole is far greater than the sum of the parts, that our strength lies in our unity. When Jacob gathered his sons to give them the blessing before his death, he talked about them as an agudah. He said, come, hey osvu v'kaptzu, come together in unity. But first of all, coming together in physical presence, but then v'kaptzu, being united, joining together, not just being in the same room at the same time, but truly sharing the goals, aspirations, because we all want the same thing for our children and grandchildren, whether we're Sephardi or Ashkenazi, no matter what our origins are or the level of our belief. We all have the same hopes and aspirations and the same commitment to the Jewish people, to the Jewish state. And at a time when it is under siege, when there is a war against the Jewish past and the Jewish future, against Jewish history, against Jewish faith, the Jewish state, the Jewish nation, the Jewish people, the rise of Jew hatred globally makes it all the more important that we stand together for the future of all of our children, grandchildren, and their grandchildren. Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you, Mr. Holmline. Our strength truly lies in our unity. We'll now go straight to our next speaker, the Executive Director of the American Sephardi Federation, Mr. Jason Guberman.
Earlier this month, Jews around the world, from Teaneck to Tetuan to Tel Aviv, from Kiev to Kansas City, and from New Delhi to Deal, read in the Torah how Shabbat is an antidote to idolatry, which Rabbi Dr. Mark Angel defines as selling out truth for the sake of gaining popularity or power. Regardless of geography, language, ethnology, or any other factor, keeping Shabbat keeps the Jewish people together, all Jews together. Shabbat is a symbol of our unity through diversity. Moreover, in the same parsha, we read the famous phrase, "Proclaim liberty throughout the land and unto all the inhabitants thereof," which is inscribed on the Liberty Bell. What is the connection? Our ancestors came to these shores as refugees in search of freedom and its blessings of peace and prosperity. President George Washington, in his letter to the Sephardic congregation at Newport, pledges that the USA will give to bigotry no sanction and to persecution no assistance. Americans, he continues, enjoy liberty as our natural, inherent right, not as an indulgence of one class of people to another. However wondrous Washington's words and the words of our Declaration of Independence and Constitution, they will remain as mere inkblots on a page unless we, as generations of Americans before us, don't strive with patriotism, courage, intelligence, dignity, and character to give the principles for which we stand force and meaning in the world. Contrary to what we are taught or intuit from communal priorities, we do not exist to resist anti-Semitism, but rather to advance a particular purpose. Contrary to what some organizations claim and some divisive and destructive curricula compel, we are not defined by anti-Semitism. The Jewish people, our philosophy, our values, and vision are not reducible to a victimhood narrative. As Hacham Meir Hai Uziel said, Israel's mission to Yehuda is to issue a call for peace to all of humanity. Israel's redemption cannot be a particular redemption, but the redemption of all of mankind from its many lethal wars, from its servitude to strange ideologies, superstitions, and tyrannical regimes, or to false religious hypocrisy. Judaism's great aspiration is to abolish religious and political rule that exploits and abuses, dominates and oppresses. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Mr. Guberman. It's important to remember anti-Semitism is not what defines us. It's us as a people coming together. One of the foundations of Jewish unity is the focus on the children and the Jewish future. It is the next generation that epitomizes this understanding and cooperation. So let us welcome Reuben Shimanoff, the ASF's National Director of Sephardi House and Young Leadership, in conversation with Netanel, one of the Sephardi House Fellows.
Hi everyone, my name is Reuben Shimonov and I am the National Director of ASF's Sephardi House and Young Leadership. I am here with one of our Sephardi House Fellows, Netanel Schwartz. And just briefly to say a little bit about Sephardi House. So we are a national movement that was founded in 2020 for college students across the U.S. And we seek to infuse the wisdom, the vitality, the creativity, and warmth of the Sephardi spirit into Jewish life on campus, while also advancing Jewish unity, vitality, and pride on college campuses. As we look at different communities and figures from the greater Sephardi world, collectively they form this masterpiece. But each community, each story is its own tile. So for me, this is one way that I understand, and the way that we in our fellowship talk about unity through diversity is honoring the different tiles of the mosaic, while at the same time being able to take a step back and appreciate the entire masterpiece. Nathaniel, I'm curious what this means to you, this concept of unity through diversity, and what might be a Sephardic approach to this idea, and how it might look like on your campus and the work you've been doing as a student leader.
Yeah. To me, being a Sephardic Moroccan Jewish student, part of it for me, I think the approach of the mosaic and the diversity within the Jewish community has to do with not just showing what I have that's unique to the mosaic, what my piece is that other students may not know or may not be aware of, but it's actually bringing other students into that piece that I have, and that way sort of exchanging each other's unique pieces. And so it's not just sort of each side looking at the other side, but each side engaging in the other side, in the other pieces, approaches and unique holidays, traditions, ideas, thoughts about Judaism, Jewish identity and culture. And on our campus, one thing that I've done this past year is Pizmonim. They sing every Friday Sephardic songs from all across the Sephardi world. And most people that come to this event every week are not Sephardi and maybe they're familiar with one or two of the songs, but they don't know most of them. And even most of the Sephardi students that come don't know most of the songs or didn't know in the beginning. But by the end of the year, we have about 20 students that know all of the songs, even majority of them not Sephardi. And so to me, the point of it is that it's not just awareness. It's not just people knowing or learning. It's not just learning, but it's also engaging. It's being part of it and not just showing what I have that's unique to the table, but actually bringing other people into that and showing them and offering a different angle into things. And sometimes I've noticed a lot of students that sort of feel bored with the way that Judaism feels in their life or Jewishness or their identity as Jewish students in general, and sort of offering each other these different angles and different approaches can actually change and revitalize that completely.
So by celebrating that diversity, ultimately, we're enriching the lives of Jews more broadly and creating deeper connections and more rich and multifaceted connections and entry points into Judaism, into Jewishness, into Jewish identity that can be relevant to all of us, regardless of our backgrounds. It can enrich all of our lives. Exactly. I'm with you, and that's really ultimately also what Sephardi House is about. It's about bringing different perspectives, approaches, wisdom, traditions, cultures, narratives that both lift up diverse Sephardic and Mizrahi stories, but also create an opportunity for everybody to tap into that and to be enriched by that, and to allow these opportunities to inform and enhance their own distinct sense of Jewish identity. Awesome. Great job to you, and kol hakavod.
By celebrating the diversity, we are enriching the Jewish experience. Thank you, and thank you for all you do. If we're not taught early on that there is a value in a diverse Judaism, that we can learn from each other while still maintaining our own heritage and pride in our identity, that just because you look a little different or read Torah differently than me or even dress differently, that doesn't make you less of a Jew. It makes you a part of the greater Jewish experience. When a single culture is imposed on all, suppressing the diversity of languages and traditions, this is an assault on our God-given differences, by Rabbi Jonathan Sacks. That is the mandate of Judaism, to be Avraham, Av Hamon Goyim. Avram was the father of many nations, not one identity. We're made of 12 tribes, not one. Our power is by sharing and bringing people together. Join us in sharing this message by adding the hashtag Unity Through Diversity across your social media. The Jewish people were spread across the world and developed unique languages and customs. The Jewish Language Project of Hebrew Union College, under the auspices of Dr. Sarah Benor, has been working to preserve our connections to these rich languages, and through that, the culture and history from where they came. Together with Alan Niku, Dr. Benor created a video to help us understand the various strands of the Shabbat rope that pull us together. Or should I say Shabbat, Shabbos, Shabboth? Let's hear.
Jews around North America come from all different backgrounds, and you can hear it in the way they talk about Shabbat.
old school Ladino speakers, like the older generation, used to say Buen Shabbat. But like I haven't heard that in forever and ever. I never hear it now.
Good Shabbos. Definitely Shabbos. But not good. Good.
Yeah, we just say Shabbat Shalom.
In my family, we say Kiddush over the wine, and we light candles, and we say Hamotzi and have challah.
Traditionally, a lot of people call it adus.
You know, we mostly say Kiddush, but also adus, like, I don't know, kind of to be cute. It's not used as much anymore, maybe by the older generation. They said that more.
Whenever people say Savri Maranan, they never say L'chaim. So it's like Savri Maranan, Savri Chaim, like a poem.
Berachaya Yain, which means blessing of wine. Like that's all Hebrew words put onto Farsi grammar. Berachaya Yain.
In my grandparents' home, when you went to wash your hands, a lavar los manos, like go and wash your hands, basically. Lavar los manos. It's also in the Pesach Haggadah.
We typically don't have challah.
Now people do have, challah, like, the Ashkenazi bread. We kind of joke in the house, like, challah is for the Kohanim. You don't eat that.
And we call it Kiddush and Hamotzi. But it will be actually on a pita. I actually like challah, so I would be baking challah or buying challah. I was a big treat, and also for my children. I never dawned on me that actually this challah was Ashkenazi.
Saying the hamotzi on pan arabe, which is pita bread.
Don't eat challah, we eat, flatbread. People will say berachaya nun, which means blessing of bread. Or people will say berachaya hamusi.
We don't call it hamotzi, actually. We call it noten.
My dad will say, instead of hamotzi, he'll say hamosin.
We would either say the blessings or say the brachas. This is all kind of, it gets mixed up because I'm married to an Israeli American of like mixed Iraqi Ashkenazi descent. And so everything's kind of confused.
They would never pronounce the he. It would be amotzi or amosi. Same with Birkat Amazon. My brother on a Friday night said something about making hamotzi, and my grandfather not having it. So I can remember, we say amosi. That was it.
In my family, we say we're going to shul. What does your family say?
My family would say knis.
If you go to Mexico, my family there, they'll still say knis.
Kal, not kahal, kal.
Sla, to pray, yeah.
For tefillah, they would say sali.
Now, in my family, we tend to say shul, but growing up, my parents said temple.
People speaking English will say are you going to Kenisa this week? Which is related to knis. It's Kenisa. In the Aramaic languages of Kurdistan, they say knishta.
Knesel. Just in our pronunciation, the E's become eh. We'll use the Yiddish word shul, just because that's America. I think everyone in America uses that word now.
There's no shul. It's kal. There and my kids know
We don't have chulent. We don't have hamin. We call it osh. This has 15, 20 ingredients depending on which household you go to.
The Iraqi tradition is more tbit. We do say hamin and not chulent.
I would definitely say chulent, and with my husband, we'll sometimes have tbit as well.
Something called tochum mor shabbati, which is Shabbat eggs, and it's a lot more similar to the sabich, actually.
Sabich, which now everybody talks, the sandwich in Israel, that was the sabich, the eggplant, the brown egg.
My grandmother told me something about something called trasnoche, which they used to call hamin in Turkey, but we never ate it.
Every Shabbat, that's what you have, kibbeh hamad.
Yeah,
was that for Friday night?
Friday night, kibbeh hamad. Yeah.
And they called it desayuno. Borekas.
Yemenites becomes very popular, the malawach and jachnun, or jachnun zohar, yes.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
So just to give you a little teaser, I was just backstage speaking with Levana Zamir, who will be with us in the second hour. I know you won't smell it, but the food smells amazing, and that's our peek into the Shabbat food. Stay with us both hours. We have some food things, but it's been a while, and personally, I need to get up and stretch a bit. So Jackie Barzvi, the creator of the Mizrahi Dance Archive, is now going to honor us with a Moroccan dance step to get us all moving a bit. So please join along, share selfies and videos of your attempts at these moves. Make sure to hashtag Unity Through Diversity and tag Institute of Jewish Experience. And Jackie, get us moving, please.
Hi everyone, this is Jackie Barzvi and I'm the creator of the Mizrahi Dance Archive, which is a website that contains tons of information around Jewish customs around dance through the Middle East and North Africa. I'm really excited to be here today to celebrate unity through diversity. And I'm going to be teaching you a few really fun Mizrahi dance moves, so I encourage you all to get up and dance with me no matter where you are in the world. Okay, let's get up and move. First off, we're going to do a little bit of Moroccan Shabi dancing, which is one of the many different styles of dance all across Morocco. But Jewish Moroccans specifically use this style of dance when they celebrate in tons of different holidays and life cycle events, such as bar mitzvahs, Chag HaBanot, Mimuna, the list goes on and on. Let's do a few simple moves and we're going to put them together in music just so you can get the idea and have fun with it. First, let's start with the hips. We're going to push from side to side, kind of like you're closing a car door with your hips. Really push and go left and right, and you can use your hands, push and push and push. Let's try doing 2 each side. We're going to go 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 1, 2. Very nice. You can start moving the hands a little bit in a flowy kind of figure 8 direction. You can also move your hips in a figure 8 as well, and still do those 2 hits to the side. Figure 8, 2, and 2, and 2, and 2. Good. Next, let's do the shoulders. I'm going to push one shoulder in front of the other, alternating towards each other, towards the screen. So left, right, left, right, left, right. Very nice. And I'm going to go back and go a little bit faster and go forward. And if you have someone dancing with you, you can go in front of each other and go back and forth, kind of like a little game. Or you can do it with me in the screen. When I come forward, you come back, and then vice versa. Forward and back. Let's put it together with some music.
Thank you, Jackie. I hope that everybody took their pictures, took the videos. If you didn't do it yet, don't worry. You can go back and re-record yourselves afterwards. We'd love to see it. Please do share it with us and share it with the world. Let's get a little serious, just for a moment. The Torah recognizes the potential for prejudice and discrimination, and therefore says in the book of Vayikra, do not hate your brother in your heart. Maimonides notes that this is a negative commandment not to hate in your heart. But if you actually hit someone, you have not transgressed a negative commandment. If the hatred is kept hidden in one's heart, there's no possibility of improving relations and establishing unity. Prejudice is born from ignorance and information and keeping things hidden. The Jewish response to this is dialogue and discussion. One table brings together young adults to open up discussions and share a meal. Dani, thank you for joining.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ellie Ben-Hamo, and I am One Table's National Director of Major Gifts. At One Table, we are all about Shabbat. In fact, we use Shabbat as a tool for young adults to engage with their local Jewish communities. We have this online platform, think Airbnb, but for Shabbat, where anyone can go to either seek out a Shabbat dinner that's being hosted in their community each week, or sign up to craft their own experience and invite guests to participate with them. And so what we're doing is we're enabling people to gather each week over Shabbat dinner and really set out meaningful and intentional time to be present with their community and engage Jewishly. I love our do-it-yourself mentality because it doesn't matter how you were raised Jewishly, where you came from, or what prayers you know. We have 52 chances a year to engage in this way, and we make sure that everybody has a seat at the table. I got involved with One Table as a participant back in 2018 when I first moved from Miami, Florida, all the way across the country to San Francisco, California. And I used it as a way to like really build my Jewish community and really get involved with my broader community in San Francisco. And I'm so grateful that now I'm on staff and able to connect so many more people to our work, whether they're joining us as a potential participant or as someone who is supporting these Shabbat dinners across the country each week.
My sincere apologies. Ellie, I don't know why I said Danny. That was Ellie Ben Hamo. So thank you. And thank you to One Table. Great concept of bringing people together from all different walks of life. Sephardic Jews were the first to arrive to the New World, and of those first synagogues built was Congregation Shereth Israel. Rabbi Angel is the Rabbi Emeritus of Congregation Shereth Israel and the founder and director of the Institute for Jewish Ideas and Ideals. He will share with us the significance of Shabbat as a tie that binds between the different communities. Rabbi Angel?
Okay, thank you very much for including me in this very important program. Shabbat is a wonderful thing. The Torah describes it as a Brit Olam, an eternal covenant between God and the people of Israel. What does an eternal covenant mean? It means that from generation to generation, we pass a certain holiness, a certain concept to ourselves, to our children, to our grandchildren. Olam, Brit Olam, means eternal. But Olam also means a place. Even though Shabbat transcends a specific place, try to imagine Shabbat from the point of view of God. God isn't bound by time, isn't bound by place. God sees all of us at the same time, so to speak. So imagine all the Jews of the world from the beginning of time, from the time of Mount Sinai until now, each of us observing Shabbat. A Jew in Yemen, a Jew in Morocco, a Jew in Turkey, a Jew in Vilna, a Jew among the Hasidim. The whole spectrum of the Jewish people, going back from antiquity to modern times. Each of us coming with our own traditions, our own piyutim, our own foods, yet we're part of one amazing tapestry. We individually see part of it. We don't see all the Jewish people all the time, and we don't connect to all of the generations with our eyes, but with our minds we can. God sees all of it at the same time, and this is part of this Brit Olam, an eternal covenant. What amazing thing if God had feelings which we don't know about, but God could see all the Jewish people in all of our simplicity, in all our purity, in all the generations, in all the places. Each of us in our own way coming before God. But for what purpose? Why do we have this covenant? There's a link, an eternal link between you and Almighty God. You are somebody. You matter. God created you. God loves you. God cares for us. So this eternal Shabbat connection is a connection with profound ramifications. It transcends time. Olam means eternity. It transcends space. Olam means the world. It also is an elam. It's also hidden. My grandfather, Alav Shalom, came from Turkey to Seattle, Washington, where I grew up. And he used to sing on Shabbat a beautiful song. And part of that song was, Yiveh Shabbat etzei chofshi. Because on Shabbat, I go free. And he used to say in a good Turkish style, now I'm free. All week long, my poor grandfather worked very hard. On Shabbat, no one could make him work. On Shabbat, he was a free man. And the freedom that he had inside him let him be free those other 6 days of the week as well. He never forgot who he was. Shabbat is a way of focusing our lives. It's not just a day, it's a concept, it's an idea, it's a philosophy of life. Sometimes in our secularized world, the meaning of Shabbat gets lost. There's a famous passage. It used to be called Shabbat Kodesh, Holy Shabbat. Then we called it just Shabbat. And then people called it Saturday. And then it's called the weekend. The desacralizing of Shabbat from Shabbat Kodesh to the weekend impoverishes us. It robs us of the hidden spark between us and God. As we observe Shabbat in all of our various traditions, whether Sephardic, Ashkenazic, Yemenite, Greek, Italian, you name it, this vast panoply of the Jewish people, as we bring all of our traditions and all of our ideas and all the fragrances of our special foods, all of our music, and we put together all of that in a wonderful covenant, an eternal covenant between us and God. It's awe-inspiring. From our point of view, of course it is, but I think God, in some mystical way, also rejoices in the holiness of the people of Israel. Shabbat is a Brit Olam, an eternal covenant. It tells us who we are in space. It tells us who we are in time. It tells us who we are in our hidden being. May we each observe Shabbat and keep Shabbat as a covenant between ourselves and God, from past generations to our generation, to all the generations yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Angel, for that insight into Shabbat as a day to reconnect us to each other and to the Jewish people. Anthropologist, vocalist, and composer Dr. Galit Dardashti has earned a reputation as a trailblazing performer and advocate for Middle Eastern and North African Jewish culture. Here, she shares with us an evening prayer in a traditional Persian tune.
Hi, I'm Dr. Galit Dardashti, anthropologist and musician, and I'm honored to be here with you. I'm going to share a Hashkivenu prayer for protection and peace. And we say it every night, including on Shabbat, and it's one which I find particularly comforting. I'm chanting it in the Persian tradition, which I learned from my father, but the text is a mix of the Persian and Ashkenazi versions, which I learned growing up, having come from a diversity of Jewish practices. And so I hope you enjoy it. Hashkivenu avinu leshalom vehamidenu malkeinu lechaim ufros aleinu sukat shelomecha ודגננו בעצה טובה מלפניך והושיענו למען שמך והגן בעודנו והסר מעלינו אויב דבר וחרב ורעב ויגון והסר שטן מלפנינו ומאחורינו ובצל כנפיך תסירנו כי אל שומרנו לשלום מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס וכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Thank you.
The beauty of the Jewish community in America. Thank you, Dr. Dashti. We're asking God to shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of God's wings, together under the Jewish canopy. And as the new rabbi of the Synagogue of the American Revolution, Congregation Mikveh Israel in Philadelphia, Rabbi Yosef Zarnigian, will share with us the unique nature of Mikveh Israel and its welcoming attitude.
Hello, everybody. I wanted to share with all of you what inclusion and diversity means in our rich Sephardi tradition. You know, the rabbis of the Talmud, they say, if you see 600,000 Jews congregated together, it's a very rare occurrence, incredibly rare occurrence. So if you're privileged to see this in your lifetime, there's a special blessing that we recite. This blessing is called Chacham Harazim, the wise one of mysteries. That's how we refer to God when witnessing such an incredible sight of Jews. Now our rabbis ask, well, why do we refer to God by such a title? The wise one of mysteries? Of course God knows all of the mysteries. There's a very, very special lesson that we learn from this blessing. Our rabbis say, She'en da'atam domim zelazeh, ve'en partufehim domim zelazeh. No Jews' thoughts, ideas, worldview is akin or similar to another's. Just like their faces are all different. Each of us have our own unique faces, our own unique fingerprints, our own unique thoughts and ideas. The way in which we experience the world is shared by no one else. And Sephardim, especially here at Mikveh Israel, have cherished that individuality very, very highly. Just to make this point even clearer, as we stand here in our synagogue, there is an abundance of space here. Pews, rows and rows of which have been used since 1976. And since 1976, and even prior to that, since 1782, during the capacity of our first building, we had Jews from all walks of life. Whether it was the Spanish and Portuguese Jews during the colonial era here in the United States, through the 19th century wave of Ashkenazi Jews who joined us, and into the 20th and 21st centuries, where we had Jews from Moroccan, Temani, Persian, Iraqi, Ashkenazi, Hungarian, Polish, you name it. Over here, you're welcome not only as a Jew of your origins, but also as a fellow member here in Kahal Kadosh Mikveh Israel, on par and equal to everybody else. I wish everybody a wonderful and joyous period during this upcoming Sefirah leading into the holiday of Shavuot, and may we continue to strive towards embracing, loving, and caring for every Jew, both externally, as far as our ethnic roots, and also internally, as far as respecting and valuing each other's ideals and values. Amen.
Unfortunately, we often think of synagogues as dividing. How wonderful is it to hear about a synagogue that goes back hundreds of years, that does not judge or dictate, but welcomes? I hope we can see more of that acceptance. I think we can use another stretch at this point, with a bit of a Yemenite step this time. So back to you, Jackie.
I'm really excited to bring you now some Jewish Yemenite dancing. This dance is very special because the Jews of Yemen share a really unique styles of dance that tell a story of their history and culture. This will be a really quick version because we don't have too much time. I just want you to get a feel of the movements and enjoy the music. Okay, let's start with moving our feet just side to side. We're doing a quick version of the Yemenite step. We're trying to step out and in. just so we can get a feel of the movement. Out and in, out and in. So we're just trying to lean to the side with our arms open. Out and in, out and in. Last movement, we're going to drop down if you can, even if it's just a little bit. And we're going to come up and move our head and just kind of let our fingers snap again and kind of feel the movement and feel the music. From the top, side and together, side and together, side and together, side and together. And forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Big hop down and 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try some music.
Reminder to please post yourselves dancing, singing, showing your heritage, sharing with us your diversity, and bringing us together. Make sure to hashtag Unity Through Diversity so that we can see and share. From the Sephardic program at Yeshiva University, we are honored to have Rabbi and Chazan Moshe Tasson share with us a message about Shabbat as the unifying factor and the importance of unity.
Greetings and welcome to all the viewers of this historic Unity Through Diversity program worldwide. My name is Rabbi Moshe Tasson. I've been serving for the past 20 plus years as the director of the Sephardic programs at Yeshiva University. And I'm here today to share a message with you on behalf of the Sephardic program of Yeshiva University, on behalf of my colleague, the founder of the Sephardic program at Yeshiva University in 1964, Rabbi Dr. Herbert Dobrinsky, who is the current Vice President for University Affairs. And on behalf of my colleague, Professor Ronnie Perelis, and dear friend, who is the Rabbi Dr. Abraham Isaac Alkali, Sephardic Studies Professor at YU. And he is also the director of the Rabbi Arthur Schneier Program for International Affairs. I'm here today to share with you a special message about unity through diversity in the Jewish world and throughout humanity globally. And the one message that I've learned that I want to impart upon my viewers and participants today, more than anything, is the more that we are different, the more that we are alike. And we share amongst the Sephardic and amongst the Mizrahi Jews throughout North America and the world, including Israel. We share common minhagim and common halachot that all follow the Torah as all Jews, and the Torah unites us. But there's an interesting element in the Sephardic and Middle Eastern and Mizrahi world. We're also united not just through halacha and through minhagim customs and through our learning of Torah. We're also united through pizmonim, music, chants, singing, and so many of the Sephardic chants that have been written and sung over the past 300, 400, 500 years, even millennia. They speak about a theme that connects all Jews, and that is Jerusalem. The love of Jerusalem, the longing for Zion, the longing to see the redemption happen in our days, and the longing to see the rebuilding of the third temple in our days speedily. And one of the most famous modern day pizmonim, chants, which kind of unites every type of Sephardic Jew, is based on a passage in Tehillim, Shabbahi Yerushalayim, and that passage is known to so many. Shabbahi Yerushalayim et Hashem, Halili Elokayich Tzion. I'd like to just share that excerpt or clip from that piyut, just for a moment. Shabbahi Yerushalayim et Amonai, Halili Elohayich Tzion. Shabbahi Yerushalayim et Amonai, Halili Elohayich Tzion. Ki Hizak Berichai She'arayich, Ki Hizak Berichai She'arayich, Berach Banayich Bekirbech, Berach Banayich Bekirbech, Berach Banayich Bekirbech, Halili, Halili, Elohayich Tzion. Thank you very much for listening. And unity through diversity is the message of the day for the Jewish people, for all of humanity. May we all merit to see the redemption in Yerushalayim speedily in our day. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Tasson. Wonderful how you helped connect so many Jewish communities with diverse heritage. The more that we are different, the more that we are alike. Something for all of us to think about. To continue your note on how music ties us together, we will close out the first hour where we will focus on Jewish American heritage with a new version of a traditional Shabbat song with Chacham Yonatan Elazar Demota. Be sure to stay for the second hour as well. Chacham Elazar is an anthropologist and musician and founder of Jazz Sephardic.
I would like to share with you at this moment my latest project, a song entitled Yah Ribon Alam, which many Jews sing on Shabbat around the world. And in the style that I am going to perform this is the Ganawa style, which comes from North Africa. It is part of a mystical tradition with call response. And in this version, I would like to show you what it is that we do with Jazz Sephardic to unite peoples around the world.
يا رب
This has been a journey through the Jewish American diverse experience. Now join us as we explore Jewish diversity across the globe, from Egypt to Yemen, from France to Montreal, and Israel. We'll expand our Jewish horizons with food, music, dance, and more, Torah discussions, and global leaders. Together, we'll learn new customs to enrich our personal Jewish experience. Don't forget to share your thoughts and responses on social media. Tag Institute of Jewish Experience, hashtag Unity Through Diversity. And for this hour, we're joined by Dalia Arusi de Verli. Together, we'll be speaking with community and global leaders, exploring Jewish Shabbat cuisine, learning some Shabbat tunes, and some Torah reflections.
It is the great pleasure of the American Sephardi Federation Institute of Jewish Experience that we again acknowledge so many wonderful and important organizations across the world that have come together to celebrate the beautiful mosaic of the Jewish people and Shabbat as a thread that binds. This initiative is in partnership with some of the leading organizations in the Jewish world, including the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, Jewish American Heritage Month, Gesher, World Jewish Congress, World Zionist Organization, Ele Betamar, Union of Egyptian Jews, Lookstein Institute of Bar Ilan University, Yeshiva University, and many more. It is this partnership that demonstrates the importance of telling this unity through diversity story. We start the second hour with a greeting from Amichai Shikli, Minister of Diaspora Affairs and Social Equality in Israel. As such, Minister Shikli is mandated to promote intercultural and intergroup understanding and acceptance. Recently, his office joined forces with one of our co-sponsors, Gesher, to create AMI, a joint venture connecting Jews in Israel and the world. His own background is one of ingathering of exiles and diversity. Here he shares with us the significance of Shabbat to him.
Shalom. It's a great privilege to take part in this initiative of Jewish Heritage Months and to speak about my perspective on Shabbat. So I think that to me, first and foremost, Shabbat is the time to see the face of my children, my wife, to sit down, to be with the family. But beyond that, I think that Shabbat reflects one of the most deepest idea of Judaism, which is that the soul governs the matter. We do not reject the matter is important, but the soul is governing the matter. And in those 24 hours, everything can wait. Every job, every mission, besides keeping the life of our people and defending them, every other mission can move away, can move it to the side, and we can wait and spend time with the family and spend time with the soul. It's time to pray, it's time to learn, it's time for the neshama. So this is for me Shabbat.
Thank you, Mr. Shikli. Shabbat as a time for the soul. We'll explore that as we continue.
One of the benefits of you watching from home is that you have all the comforts of home, including your kitchen. Our next guest is Dr. Helene Johara Pinier, chef and food historian, whose book, Sephardi Cooking, The History, has some wonderful recipes and background about the origin of those recipes. Here she shares with us an important Shabbat dish that spans diasporas and can be made in your home. The recipe will be available in the comments under the live event on our Institute of Jewish Experience Facebook page, as well as by registering for our mailing list on instituteofjewishexperience.org. Helene?
Hello everyone, it's Hélène Javard-Pinier. Welcome to my kitchen here in the south of France. I'm so happy to be part of the Jewish Month Heritage to highlight the richness of our culture. So I decided to do a very special dish, a dish that the Sephardim used to do for Shabbat, and it is called oriza. In my cookbook Sephardi, I offer a recipe of oriza, which is related to the Andalusian Jews in the 13th century. But what we should know is that in pre-Islamic Arabia, there was a dish called harissa, which was in fact quite the same. and was prepared by the Jews of this territory, and including the Yemenite Jews. In the 7th century, a caliph, during a party, asked a Jew to recite a poem, and this man, who was Jewish, decided to highlight in this poem the importance of its father. And so this was supposed not to be very pleasant for the caliph. Nevertheless, he asked something very special to the Jew. He asked him if his family still prepared the harissa dish as well as they used to do. And the Jew said, it's now even better. So the caliph was very surprised, and so he asked the Jew to prepare one dish of harissa, and he really, really enjoyed it. So he was not punished and not killed. This story was found in a letter from the Geniza in Egypt, and we know that this dish was made with semolina wheat and with fat and lamb. It was cooked overnight, so the fat could be absorbed by the semolina dough. But now we are going to do like quite second version. So this one, the Andalusian version, that also use wheat. Both harissa, the Andalusian version and the Middle Eastern version, are delicious, and they are Shabbat dishes. They contain wheat, meat, and spices, and they are still part of the culinary heritage of the Jews. So to make the harissa from Andalusia, you need wheat that has been soaked all night, onions, sugar, and here garlic, and of course, olive oil. So now it's done. We did it great. I'm gonna cover it and put it in the oven on the Sabbath mode. I'm gonna show you. Shabbat Shalom. Now it's time to see how the harissa looks like. Wonderful. And now it's time to taste. That's the best moment.
So have you ever made harissa?
No, but I feel like I should now. So many nuances to Shabbat.
I know. As we heard from Dr. Elaine, Shabbat traditions transcend time and space, yet evolve in their own forms. Rose Simon Schwartz has been working with us at the American Sephardi Federation Institute of Jewish Experience to help promote the beauty, Jewish diversity, and the strength it brings to the Jewish world. She is from the Spanish-Portuguese Synagogue in Montreal. Thank you for your dedication to the Jewish community and for sharing with us Jewish Canadian Heritage Month.
Let me first start by giving you some background information on Canadian Jewish Heritage Month. In 2018, Parliament unanimously passed a bill proclaiming that throughout Canada, the month of May will be marked as Canadian Jewish Heritage Month. This type of initiative helps Canadians understand one another, by allowing different communities and cultures to be showcased and celebrated. Understanding and appreciating the contribution different communities make to Canada brings us closer together. Also, in April of 2022, the Montreal City Councillor for the district where the synagogue is located tabled a motion to City Council to recognize May as Jewish Heritage Month. It was adopted unanimously. In most settings, the efforts to achieve harmony in institutions are often marked by tensions between those who strive for unity at all costs and those who are protective of diversity and the need to maintain this distinct group identity. This was not and has not been an issue in Montreal's Spanish and Portuguese congregation. Now, allow me to explain. The diverse composition of the synagogue's membership shows the migration waves in Montreal over the past 50 years. Following the dismantle of colonial empires, newly acquired independence of Middle East countries have resulted in Jewish local populations being victims of violence, losing their status, and being forced to exile. These members spoke a variety of languages and brought with them an even greater variety of customs. What they had in common was a link with the larger Sephardic world and the need to associate with like-minded people, notwithstanding their superficial but real diversity in both languages and customs. This is why our synagogue is unique in Montreal. It is home to a culturally diverse membership of over 800 families. Many of those families immigrated to Canada from the Maghreb, the Middle East, from such countries as Iraq, Morocco, Lebanon, Egypt, Tunisia, Ethiopia, and from countries in Eastern Europe as well, Poland, Romania, and Russia. Some were English-speaking and some French-speaking. Our most recent members come from France. The Spanish and Portuguese synagogue holds different minyanim both during the year and during high holidays, at which time Iraqis hold their own minyan, so do Lebanese, Moroccans, Ashkenazim, and Ethiopians. We all celebrate together, yet each keeping their own liturgy, rites, and customs, and we're all under one roof. Our former rabbi, Howard Joseph, Zichrono Libracha, always liked to underscore the constructed harmony of the Montreal community as he compared it to a Jewish United Nations. French, English, Hebrew, and Arabic cohabit. Moroccans have learned to eat tibit, which is an Iraqi dish, and Iraqis have learned to love tefina, which is a Moroccan dish, followed by Lebanese baklava. In conclusion, one asks the question, can we be united and yet come from diverse backgrounds? That's a definite yes for me. We are seeing not only in our synagogue, but also in our Montreal society. Our city is known for its cultural diversity, in the arts, in religious practices, and in celebrations of various holidays. In reflecting on unity and diversity, we can say this is what makes us strong, united, true members of the Spanish and Portuguese synagogue, and true residents of Quebec.
Thank you, Rose. As the cantor of the Spanish-Portuguese Synagogue of Montreal, Chazan Ben Lolo works hard to be inclusive of the various groups. Lecha Dodi is a prayer sung today in almost every synagogue on Friday nights. Here, he shares some of the tunes that they have incorporated into their standard Shabbat services.
Shalom, this is Chazan Daniel Ben Lolo from the Spanish and Portuguese Synagogue of Montreal. And this is the different facets and melodies of Lecha Dodi. The first one is from Ki Eshmera Shabbat. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. This is a melody taken from Cuando el Rey Nimrod. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. The third is Be'arevot HaNegev, a very popular Israeli tune. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פן שבת נקבלה. There are many, many more, so I ask you to join all the Sephardic communities and discover all the beautiful melodies that we incorporate in the Lecha Dodis. Shalom uvracha.
Thank you, Cantor Ben Lolo, Chazan Ben Lolo. Please feel free to incorporate those tones into your own synagogue. While preparing for Shabbat, share your melodies on social media and tag Institute of Jewish Experience and hashtag Unity Through Diversity. Make sure to share this experience, share the rope that binds.
A small interesting note, not only are tunes different, but so are words. In the Yemenite tradition, rather than the last words of the chorus being Pnei Shabbat Nekabla, the Yemenites say Pnei Shabbat Nakbila, a more active form of the same word. It's not that we will receive the face of Shabbat, but that we will actively go out and bring it into our homes.
Joining us now is Rabbanit Oshra Cohen, Director of Matana Sharon in Ra'anana, a Women's Institute for Torah Learning. Thank you so much for joining us here live. It's so much nicer when we have people in the studio with us, so thank you. A few years back, Rabbanit Oshra approached me and said she feels there's a lack, even within her own institution, which has wonderful programming, I have to say, but the voice of the larger diaspora Jew is lacking. And she set about to integrate the Sephardi and Mizrahi voices into her teaching, as well as bring in Jews of all backgrounds. Rabbanit Oshra, can you tell us why? What made you do this?
So first of all, thank you for inviting me, Drora
Thank you
and
for
Dalia.
coming.
It's so nice to be here in this special event. So I turned to you, Drora, because I felt that there's so much richness of the chokhmah Sfaradit, of the Sephardi wisdom that is lacking, not only in Matan and my Women's Institute, but in all of the high schools and the midrashot and the yeshivot of the Tzionut Datit, that even people from Sephardi backgrounds aren't familiar anymore with the Sephardi wisdom, and there's so much richness. And I thought that it's half of the Torah, of the chokhmah, which is lacking and missing. So that's why I turned to you, and 2 years ago, and already we're going to be doing a third course next year with Dr. Dr. Ben Yitzchak, who's going to be coming, Ben David, sorry, Yitzchak Ben David, who's going to be coming, and he's going to be doing a special course about Rav Nisim and Rav Uziel next year. So we're really excited about that. We just started our journey.
And what do you think is the significance of the diversity of customs and traditions?
So what I see is that it's not only that half of the wisdom of Torah is missing, but there's something really special that I think in that wisdom, in that chokhmah Sfaradit, which can really be relevant to our life, our Jewish life today, especially in Medinat Yisrael. Take, for instance, the controversy of conversion, of Giyur. There's so much more openness in the chokhmah Sfaradit, which I think it can solve a lot of our issues of Giyur. Take, for instance, we're going to be studying specifically about Rav Uziel next year, but Rav Uziel especially was much more lenient in accepting Gerim, converts, into the Jewish nation. And today, the issue is very great. I mean, we have so many people, Israeli citizens, who are living in Israel, young men and young women who go to the IDF, go to the army, grow up, speak Hebrew, and there's such obstacles in front of them of converting, and they want to be part of Am Yisrael, and we have to, with love, accept it, and I think that the Torah Sfaradit has a lot to say about that. Another thing I want to say is that I discovered Matan is a women's institute of Torah learning, and we've always studied in my Bat Mitzvah group and Bichlal about different Nashim Chachmaniyot, wise Torah scholars, heroes, heroines. But I've discovered through this journey that we're on that there were also many Sephardi Torah scholars, like Rabbanit Osnat of Kurdistan, Rabbanit Osnat Barzani in the 17th century, who was a Rosh Yeshiva. And then you have Farcha Sasson, I'm not sure how to say it, Farcha Sasson,
or Flora
Sasson, who was an amazing leader and Torah scholar, a princess, mamash, a queen, who was a chavruta with Rav Nisim, and there's correspondence of hers with Rav Nisim. So I'm really proud and excited to discover these and others. Talk about Chana Mendes Nasi, Dona Grazia. So even in my Bat Mitzvah program, which is all over the world, we've incorporated these Chachmaniot Sfaradiot. So it's very exciting.
Oh, that is very exciting. And I would ask also, how would you say that the various rabbinic voices help make us one nation rather than divide us?
Well, I think that unity is not through us all being the same. Unity is by us accepting and respecting the differences. I think of that's what kibbutz, the beauty of kibbutz galuyot is all about, gathering the exiles. That each one, it's not a melting pot. In a melting pot, or they call in Hebrew kura hituch, each one loses their identity, and then we have a big soup, and that's a pity. I would think more of, if we're talking about food, a salad, which you still taste the sweetness of the tomato and the cucumber, or maybe a beautiful tapestry where the different threads or mosaic create that beautiful piece of art. So if I think of that metaphor, I think of if when each custom, each one that comes from a different diaspora brings that strength and that light, our light will be even greater in Medinat Yisrael, in the Jewish nation. So I think that is, unity is not uniformity. That's what unity is all about.
We say that so often. Thank you so much, because that is a point that is so important to remind us. Unity is not uniformity. And thank you so much for taking out of your time
Thank you for inviting me.
to come with us today.
Thank you. So we've discussed food, music, Torah. Now we move over to another of the Jewish cultural venues, dance. Many have known the Yemenite step, and those who were with us in the first hour maybe even got up and danced it with Jackie. Here, choreographer Osnat Sharabi Brideman gives us a peek into the transformation of the classic step with her dance troupe, Birchovot Teman, out of Israel.
Hello everyone, we are the dance group Birchovot Teman in Street of Yemen, and we will present you 3 dance, part of our big show that came from the culture of Yemen, and it's become from the Yemen step, so that you can enjoy. Thank you very much.
دلتنا ديبم نهاديبم دلتي مهرام لنين عالو لنين عالو إمنين علو إمنين علو إمنين علو دلتنا ديبم دلت مرام لنين علو الحي مرام الحي مرام الحي مرام عالكهربي كلهم بروحه يا علو الحي مرام عالكهربي كلهم بروحه يا علو
أنا يا أبوي أنا
Chad.
Our next guest is one of the global leaders of Jewish diversity. She has written curricula on the Jews of the Arab world, was the president of the Union des Juifs d'Egypte, wrote a best-selling cookbook on Egyptian cuisine, speaks multiple languages, and remains active in her museum on Egyptian Jewry in Tel Aviv.
She's an Israeli historian born in Egypt, and among her many awards and accolades, she received the Prime Minister Award for Academic Research on Jews from Arab countries in 2016. And actually, I was so honored to recently witness her receiving the Badge of Honor from the city of Tel Aviv this Yom HaAtzmaut, an amazing, well-deserved honor. Welcome, Levana, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Drora and Dalia. It's really wonderful to be here. I want to introduce today the Jews of Egypt and the uniqueness of their Shabbat with a short video first on the Rambam Synagogue in Cairo, where the Maimonides, Rambam, renowned and venered by the whole Jewish world, used to teach Torah during the week, except for Shabbat, as we will see together. Maimonides never left for Stat in Shabbat, Old Cairo, where he lived. Here it is.
In August of 2009, the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities announced a renovation project of an old building in Cairo. But what is the importance of this historic building? Well, this location was the Beit Midrash where Rambam, Maimonides, taught his students Torah almost 900 years ago, and later became Rambam Synagogue. Rambam's impact was so profound that after his death in 1204, the Egyptian Jewish community of Cairo turned this Beit Midrash into a synagogue bearing the name of Rambam, the abbreviation of the name Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. Now let's go back to the 12th century. In 1148, Rambam and his family fled from Cordova in Islamic Spain, where he was born, to Fez, Morocco. However, due to continued harassment against Jews in Fez, at the age of 28, he fled again and founded his home in the more tolerant Egypt, and settled in Old Cairo Fostat. Outside of his teaching Torah in Egypt, he became a physician, even for Sultan Salah ad-Din and his family, and was elected as the chief rabbi of the Jewish community for over 30 years. In addition, he was spreading his wisdom as Jewish communities from all over the Middle East would follow his writings and send him questions, from Morocco all the way to Yemen. Among his most influential works are the Mishneh Torah, the Guide for the Perplexed, Epistle to Yemen, and much more. Rambam used to pray at the Ben Ezra synagogue. After all, it was right down the block from his house in Fostat. He would then travel every day to the Sultan's palace in Cairo. Then he would hurry back to teach his students in the Beit Midrash, located at the entrance of Har Tel Yahud, the Jewish quarter of Cairo. As he wrote to one of his friends, he would go back home to Fostat in the evenings, and a long line of patients were still waiting for him, as if his job is never done. Let's return to Rambam Synagogue. It was built after the Rambam's passing in the 13th century, and was active for the continuing centuries. On October 1973, the roof of the synagogue completely caved in, and if that wasn't enough already, then came groundwater damage, all in all leading to an unfortunate site with only a small part of the original structure still remaining. This is what it looks like today, after its renovation works by the Ministry of Antiquities in 2008. Now let's talk a bit about the physical structure. The entryway reads Synagogue of Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, Maimonides, in both Hebrew and Arabic, even though the Jewish community of Har Tel Yahud used to call this synagogue Rab Moshe Synagogue. The synagogue's front door opens to a plaza, with a door to the left accessing the sanctuary. The sanctuary door is embellished with fruit-bearing palm tree as an ode to a verse from Psalms.
The righteous shall grow like the palm tree and flourish as the cedar in Lebanon.
The palm tree is also a symbol of the Jewish community in Cairo. Inside the sanctuary, the walls were adorned with elaborate paintings, a large wooden ark, chandeliers, and memorial lamps hanging from the ceiling. At the center of the sanctuary stands the bima, or stage, roughly the same as the original from centuries ago. From there, the cantor leads the prayer service and the Torah is recited. If you were to go straight from the courtyard, you would enter a hall that was the place of the original Beit Midrash. To the right are the mikvah bath, service rooms, and a staircase to a small woman's balcony with room for about 15 women. But if you were to turn left, right before the original Beit Midrash, which is still there, you would go down 6 or 7 stairs right into a cave under the Beit Midrash. This historic cave is where you will find a niche in the center and one to the right. The center niche is where Rambam was laid to rest during the Shiva, before his wish was granted and his body was ultimately buried in Tiberias. Pilgrims of various faiths would visit or even sleep in the adjacent niche, hoping the aura of Maimonides would help to cure them of their ailments. There are many stories and legends of healing associated with this place. A story tells of a woman who slept in the catacomb one night to pray for her chronically sick brother. That night, she dreamt of how to cure him, and witnesses say that the treatment worked, and her brother was cured. As Maimonides was the physician to the vizier of Egypt, it shouldn't surprise us that there are similar legends associated with Egypt's royalty. One story tells of King Fuad I, who left his cloak in the catacombs one night and was cured the next day of his ailment. Legends even say that the famous Egyptian singer Laila Murad, who converted to Islam and was subsequently rejected by Cairo's Jewish community, came to this tomb. Encased in her melaya, a soft black fabric covering her from head down, and gave a big donation. The next day, the community's anger had softened. Centuries after his lifetime, the synagogue stands tall in the glory of his namesake, and many tourists visit the site till this day. And thanks to the restoration projects, the legacy of the Rambam synagogue lives on. That is all for now. Thank you for watching the video. Until next time, friends.
This is the 26th educational video of the ASF Institute of Jewish Experience and the second in our series of Egyptian synagogues that we have created in partnership with the Union of Egyptian Jews.
You often say that in Cairo, you were not Mizrahi or Sephardi or Ashkenazi, you were Egyptian, Jews. I see that you have brought here a Shabbat dish, and you're going to show it to us.
Okay, Drora, I want to share with you, with all of you all over the world and in Israel, a special Egyptian Shabbat dish. My mother, Esther Vidal, used to cook for us every Friday. In Egypt, all the Jews of Egypt were eating sofrito after Kiddush in Friday night dinner. What the sofrito is? The sofrito is eladino. Sofrito is twice fried. So this is the dish, the sofrito. It smells so good. Well, nom nom nom. This is the sofrito. Well, sofrito is really from Spain. The Jews brought it with them from Spain. And you know what? I am quite sure that Maimonides was eating sofrito every day night after dinner. Every Friday night after Kiddush. Sofrito in Ladino means stir-fried. Okay? So after frying the chicken, we add the lemon sauce, water, you cover with water, lemon and curcum, and which is turmeric, and that's it. That's why it becomes yellow. You see? It becomes yellow because of the curcum, the turmeric, and it smells. Come and eat. So
we have to tell you it also. It smells wonderful.
Amazing.
And we continue to cook it over low fire for an hour until the chicken becomes very, very soft, because the Jews of Egypt are really, they like only the very, very, very soft food, and until the sauce becomes, you see, a little bit
you have to
thick.
pick it up here.
Yes, thick and a little bit sticky. A little bit sticky, you see? Okay. That's it. Exactly. You do it well, Drora. So, and you know what? Even the Ashkenazi people, they like the sofrito. So, because if you know or not, I don't know, but in Egypt, Egypt is the only Arab country where we had a big community, a serious community, Ashkenazi community. They came to Egypt during the 19th century, and also at the beginning of the 20th century, they fled from the pogroms in Ukraine, Russia, and Poland during the late 19th century, and assimilated completely with other Jews in Egypt who came from Greece, Italy, the Balkans, and from other Arab countries as well. So all of them lived together in harmony, helping each other until the mid-20s, when they were compelled to live this beautiful cosmopolitan life. You see, you know what? It's sad to say today, for the first time in history, after thousands of years, there are only 2 Jews in all of Egypt, a woman, Magda Harun, in Cairo, and a man in Alexandria. That's all. That's history, that's life. But I am sure one day will come, and Egypt, Israel, Medinat Israel, and Egypt will be together in a full interaction. I am sure of that. Thank you for watching, and see you soon in Jerusalem.
Wow, thank you, Levana. This looks and smells absolutely amazing. Is it in your cookbook as well?
Yes, of course. The sofrito is there.
Wow, wow.
Mat'ameh Mitzrayim, the name of the book.
Amazing, amazing. Now, we'd love to hear all of you responding as well. Please put comments in the chat, on social media, hashtag Unity Through Diversity, and tag the Institute of Jewish Experience. Share your recipes if you've had sofrito. And as we've discussed, arts is often something that brings us together. Nicole Borger, out of Brazil, has brought together Jewish music from different diasporas and celebrates the diversity. Here, she'll tell you a bit about how Unity Through Diversity speaks to her.
From all over the world. My name is Nicole Borger. I'm a singer, songwriter in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and musical and cultural producer. I am very, very honored and pleased to be here with you today in this event called Unity Through Diversity, as this name by itself has been the motto of my life. About 15 years ago, my husband and I created the Jewish Music Institute of Brazil with the idea of preserving and promoting Jewish culture through our music and publicizing the work of artists that dedicate themselves to this genre of music. And also to help break barriers of intolerance and prejudice in a way that only art can do.
Wo bist du gewesen, als Jugend ist gefehlt, das Herz hat mit Liebe gebrannt. Heut bist du da, als die Hosen grau, und es zittern bei mir schon die Hände. La 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 la, 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 la 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 la. Wo bist du gewesen?
Having brought a huge crew of international artists to Brazil during all these years, we decided that it was time to give some international exposure to Brazilian artists as well. Thanks again for this opportunity of being with you today, and we hope to see you in our programs. Come join us.
Thank you so much, Nicole, and always leaving us wanting more. Hopefully that's what we're doing here also across the board. I love the question saying if there's going to be more of this. Yes, there's going to be more of this.
We close out this second hour with an Israeli Yemenite actor and singer, Mati Seri, who starred in Israeli film and TV, is a staple of the Kamari Theater, was in Rambo 3.
I had to add that in, sorry.
Among other Hollywood films, and most recently has a vlog about the weekly Parsha and is publishing his Parsha book in English. Thank you for joining us, and tell us a bit about your thoughts of what unites us.
Hi, my name is Mati Seri, and I'm happy to be taking part in this important initiative. We, Bnei Israel, the Jewish people, are from different tribes. We have different flags, colors, languages, and customs. Yet despite this, there are things that unite us. Beyond the fact that we are all sons and daughters of Adam and Eve, we are brothers and sisters within the Jewish people. We share communal identity and characters that we received from Moses on Mount Sinai. The mitzvah of Shabbat that was introduced in the first portion of the Torah holds fast up to today. Every Shabbat, we read the weekly Torah portion, that parasha that belongs to that particular Shabbat. My personal mission is to reach as many communities around the world and share the depth and the breadth of the weekly Torah portion. As an actor, I know the importance of words, melodies, and emotions. Those same elements are what drew me to reconnect the parasha and helped show its relevance today. My book, 52 Weeks of Devotion, is a year-long guide to the Bible. It lets us reconnect with our faith and show how much the Torah that we received on Mount Sinai is still relevant to us today. Although the Torah is thousands of years old, it is a living being that is renewed each year and each day. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
לדעת, אל נסתכן לגבי המחר. יש לפעמים שסיבה לא נודעת, יש פעמים שנסתר הדבר, יש דברים נסתרים, לא נבין לא נדע. נעשה גם דברים שנראים בלי סיבה, לא צריך כל דבר לחקור ולשאול, לפעמים גם מותר לא לדעת הכל. אל נבקש
Thank you, Mati. Jewish unity through diversity refers to the idea that despite the diversity within the Jewish community, there is a shared sense of unity and common purpose. Judaism is a rich and multifaceted religion and culture with various traditions, beliefs, and practices. Jewish people come from different backgrounds, ethnicities, and countries, each contributing their unique perspectives and experiences to the community. Embracing diversity within Judaism is essential for fostering unity and strength. It means recognizing, understanding, and appreciating the cultural and ethnic diversity within the Jewish community, including Ashkenazim, Sfaradim, Mizrahim, and other Jewish groups.
Rabbi Jonathan Sachs said, Judaism believes that the argument itself is the total conversation of the Jewish people in dialogue with God. And so long as we can keep arguing with one another, never leaving the table, but engaged in the collaborative pursuit of truth, that is what holds the Jewish people together. Unity without uniformity, like Rabbanit Oshra said, the willingness to keep talking even with those with whom we disagree.
The Israelite nation was born of 12 tribes, sons of Jacob. The human nation was born of Shem, Ham, and Yafet, sons of one couple, Adam and Eve. The multiple strands are what makes the rope stronger and more sustainable, the rope of unity through diversity. This is the beginning of the dialogue. Follow American Sephardi Federation Institute of Jewish Experience on social media, on our website, and join our mailing list. Our next step is to have live conferences bringing together communities around the world. Watch for the first conference in New York in November, the second in Israel in January, and the third in Europe in May. Please reach out to be a part of telling the greater Jewish story.
Thank you. We hope you enjoyed these 2 hours with us. And like we said, it's only the beginning. Please stay with us for much, much more. Have a wonderful rest of the day wherever you are in the world.
Thank you.